Greetings, sending you all warm, positive vibrations. Shout out to all of my early risers. Hopefully you've had your water in a wine glass. And I just wanted to come on really quick to say some positive vibes before I jump on my bicycle. So those of you that have been on this channel for a while know that I'm a big fan of the early day. So I've already been up very early. And so I've observed that so much clarity comes to you in the early day. And this early day, I woke up to, just the thoughts, the very, very, very clear thoughts of asking your anger questions and even asking your mindless eating questions, asking your overeating questions. So that's what I wanted to touch in on today. And then also just a question. These are things that you can contemplate in your quiet moments by yourself. Are you interested? Are you okay with continually getting the same results? Are you asking for the same results over and over again? So welcome to this channel. If you haven't been to this channel before, this is Body-Culinary. You can find me on Instagram as Body-Culinary. On Facebook, it's Body-Culinary. On Patreon, on Body-Culinary. And also on TikTok, Kwasa with a K, peaceful, like full belly eating. And on this channel, I share my journey of radical self-acceptance, of how I popped out onto this 3D plane, my hair, my skin. This is my quickie style of the day with some pipe cleaner curls. I also share encouragement to start a garden, to cultivate or restart or refine your personal movement practice, as well as to reconnect to nature through starting a garden, whatever kind of space, big or small, that you're in, because these are practices, lifestyle practices that are so therapeutic, more therapeutic than you could even realize just through intellectualizing or thinking about it. These are things that once you implement them into your life, they're so calming, which is something that we need on a regular, that we would benefit from on a regular basis, from consuming our consumption patterns, right? Consuming for longevity, for vitality, for our mood, for our peace of mind. And then for beauty, right? Beauty is health. It shows up as health. And it's not just what we're looking like physically, because looks change. Our look, and this is really a thing, but the appearance, or what our body temple, right, that we're walking around here, what it looks like is a result of things that whatever we've been doing. So if you have additional adipose tissue that you may sometimes complain about, which you're going to get into, it's there because of a reason, for a myriad of reasons. And actually, and if you don't know, you could know just by getting kind of quiet. So welcome to the channel. And this early day in the quiet, right, I invite you to ask questions of your own, right? I'm not there with you. Your own divine, onboard, innate intelligence. Innate meaning every single human being was born with a type of intelligence that doesn't need anybody else. It doesn't need a middleman. It doesn't need a middlewoman. It doesn't need a minister or a pastor. I think it's interesting, or any religious person. Now, this is from a person that was raised very religious, has gone and attended numerous ashrams and chanting, and tried been in tried out different religions growing up. Throughout my life, and it's definitely in my 20s, testing the waters. And over the years, I found like, wow, isn't it interesting how much we trust everyone else's secondhand opinion more than our own intelligence? I think it's really interesting that we feel the need, especially now, there's such a climate that we need almost like a fortune teller or anybody else. We just will have anybody else interpret to us our own intelligence. And I don't know that it's balanced, at least balanced, right? If not more we turn into trust and to listen, to listen, to listen. So I am by no means a human without flaws. However, I have taken on this healthy curiosity about my own intelligence and about my own results, and I invite you to do the same. So today, as I woke up in the quiet, and you see there are several relaxation videos on this page. Could say meditation, but I'd rather even say just relaxation and breathing, because that's something that we all have access to. And quite often that's something that we're likely going to have to choose with a lot of the situations we're being faced with and that we may be in. We will have to choose relaxation. And this initially may feel very, very artificial. However, we're going to have to choose to allow ourselves access to calming down in our bodies, and not necessarily in such a knee-jerk fashion on medicating everything. Well, I felt the same way. I learned to trust the you and universe. Yes, to trust you, and which part of you. So I think this is perhaps where some of the confusion could come in, right? There's a song by Sting that I used to listen to when I used to go dance in the clubs, called Voices Inside My Head. It's one of those songs where you could just be like zoning out. Like, I like songs that are very, very intense and you can zone out. And so the beat is, what he's saying, it's like a chant almost. He's saying voices inside of my head. Like, it just really appeals to me because there's voices, there's communication, right? And with these screens and social media and entertainment, quite often the voices, the communication, the literal programming, the messages are coming one way. They're being deposited, dumped. Sometimes things are a car blasting, rolling by the street. Things are being dumped one way, very passively, right? They're being dumped information, literal information, everything that's dumped in here that is coming into your eyes and your smell, all these different senses, it's being processed. We're having reactions to everything that we're being exposed to, and it gets dumped for processing. There's only but so much information that can stay in our conscious, our present mind at one time. You can only handle but so much information, at one time. Only so much can be on your bandwidth at one time. So in order for human beings, right, for us to function, the brain has ways of storing all this information and even accessing it. Things that appear as danger or that trigger traumas, it's all in there. And the brain, there's a part of our brain, a function of the brain, right, of this organ, right? It has different ways that it works. There are different parts of the brain, right? A function of it is protection, right? That's very primal. Like if I go to poke in your eye, you're going to get a little blink. That's on automatic. So we have our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous system. There's a part of our body that is on automatic pilot that keeps your breathing is on rotation. It doesn't stop unless there's a problem. Then there's crisis. It keeps the heart beating and pumping these fluids, this liquid, this blood throughout the body. It keeps the lymphatic system pumping, right? So waste product can be dumped into that other watery channel. If we had to think about it, we'd be like, out of here. Because we might catch an attitude to be upset and decide, shut it down. So there's that divine part of this organism, of this divine temple that allows us to experience life on this 3D plane on the earth that is on automatic pilot. So we have all been given narratives on how it works to explain it, all right? And the things that we don't explain, we have many narratives that have been fed to us, and these narratives have been revised that are based around fear quite often, right? And so it has us making up all different kinds of stories. A lot of these stories generate more fear, and it plays into our choices. So as someone that is a professional chef by trade, that is a personal trainer and fitness coach by trade, that is a mom, that is a human being that has observed a lot of, within my community and in the world, dressed up and dressed down, I've observed a lot of substance abuse, something that I have been fascinated since a child. I am fascinated by substance abuse. Like, why? Why would I do that to myself? If you ever looked at pictures, I've said before, of meth users, and you could see what this would do to your body. Like, wow, what the heck would make you do that? What would make you take certain kinds of risks that have pretty much guaranteed results? This makes no sense. So I'm fascinated. I've seen folks that have stuck all kinds of needles into their hands. Like, aren't people scared of needles? Like, there's something that entices us to these self-sabotaging, deadly, socially acceptable, even suicidal behaviors that many of us have. A lot of these behaviors are ingrained. A lot of them are constantly confirmed and reaffirmed by positive figures. A lot of these behaviors we see in a lot of our leaders, religious leaders, political leaders. So the brain has to process all of this stuff. This is a lot of mixed messages. So sometimes as the consumer, as the everyday person, we're beating up on ourselves, shaming ourselves, which usually will have a definitive effect, usually winds up in us medicating ourselves. So we're moving at such a pace. I don't know that we're even aware of how much shame, the subtleties. Many of us like, I'm not ashamed. I'm not angry. I'm good. I got it. I got it handled. And in our quiet moments, I'm not there with you. Only you know. If we have lackluster results, I don't think perhaps we're encouraged to ask the right questions. And I don't think perhaps that we're really encouraged to be fully accountable. And I have humbly observed and come to the conclusion that the only one that really sincerely has a genuine interest in me asking these introspective questions that will likely spark response-able actions is me. Greetings, new here, and enjoying this much needed nutrition for me this morning. Yes, nutrition is not only the things that we're putting into our mouths. One of the areas that I'm extremely passionate about, let me see, because I can go so many different places. Let me just be clear, because even my son says I can be long-winded. That's a lot of passion. One of the areas where I'm extremely passionate is Afro women and obesity. Obesity, I didn't know what it was when I was little, but looking at all the women in the church and many of the women around me or obese, I didn't know a word for it, right? I knew what insulin was because I had to go to get the little bottle of insulin from the refrigerator from my grandmother. Even now, if I sit and I think about it, I'm like, there's certain things as a small child I'm just looking at to figure out. I had to go get the insulin from my grandma on my maternal side for her to give herself injections for diabetes. And so as a child without an extensive language, you're sensing and trying to make sense of why this person putting these scary needles in there, in certain patterns and habits. And I remember the scent of urine of a diabetic person. If you go into the bathroom after my beloved grandma on my maternal side, I remember these patterns. I remember, the scent of alcohol, when folks would be drinking. I remember the scent of weed. I also remember the scent of blueberry cobbler and peach cobbler and collard greens, and potato salad and cigarettes, so all of this stuff is information, right? All of this stuff is information that's being put in, and we're having responses to it. We're consuming patterns. We're trying to make sense of the patterns that we've been fed to. We may not even realize, but under certain stresses, we will respond with the program that was given to us. So if that was drugs, we may be going to seek it, right? Quite often as more mature adults, Many of us share our patterns with our children as women, as mothers, even as aunties, especially as mothers. We share our treats with our children. If your children are there, they're waiting for you to drop them off break off a little piece of the treat, So somehow your mom's food always tastes better. The food off her plate, even if she had a lot of Bajan hot sauce in it, right? Her food for some reason tastes better. And so when mommy is getting treats, if that's Chinese food, if it's soda, mama like a little bird, right? You have to see birds chew up food and they put a little piece in the baby's mouth. As mothers, we break off a piece of what we're eating. So if we're eating to soothe ourselves and to pacify ourselves, then we are sharing those patterns, right? We're sharing patterns of behavior, and we are modeling how we're responding to stress, right? We're modeling it for our children, right? And then we're ricocheting off of each other. And then at some point, when the children start to come of age, and as we mature, and we are faced with the same stresses now as our parents, trigger, and start responding with what was modeled to us. And I invite us to press pause, especially this morning, on making bad or wrong. Let's just press pause, because I'm definitely not here to invalidate anyone's experience or anyone's feelings. But I invite us to press pause. I invite us to have that healthy sense of curiosity for the purpose of getting a different result. So the results that you have right now, they may not be bad, but are they only you know? Do you want another result, right? Without shaming yourself out of the results, your desired results, without rationalizing yourself out of what you would like to experience in your body temple. What would you like to experience in this world? Without shaming yourself. If you want another level of result, have you become jaded, or do you even realize, that's what I would like, but that's really not going to happen in the area of things that you are in control of, right? Your health, vitality, different experiences that you want to have on this 3D plane with this here body temple, running, playing, jumping, singing. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to go to Alvin Ailey. Do you want to dance? How inhibited are you? Are you able to tune in to your own internal dialogue? Do you feel like you're not worthy? You're not capable? Who am I to go dance? Always have these visions of Alvin Ailey. Child, make some space in your living room and do your Alvin Ailey. Do your modern contemporary dance. Do you feel silly? See, those are times. Do you feel internal shame? Are you shaming yourself? You may not see how all of these different things are connected. And we may be cheating ourselves, rationalizing ourselves, shaming ourselves out of having vigorous, joyous movement, out of experiencing joy right now. You don't need permission. You don't need more degrees. You don't need other people's permission or validation to experience joy, to experience fun, right? You may be telling yourself, I don't have time for fun because the bills are due. I got too much to do. And, I'm in this relationship that's a headache. Fun to me is like, it's nourishment. It's like eating some delicious organic pineapple. We deserve that, but we can keep saying affirmations till the cows come home. I found that affirmations are actually a weight. They can be a weight and a burden if we're not getting into action. Then we're creating a conflict somewhere in the mind, and the conflict is an irritation. And if we're not getting into action, then there'll be more shame around. We know what to do, but we're not activating it. So we are very aware in our subconscious, somewhere in our mind, we know that we're not getting into action around what we've said to our friends or what we vowed to ourselves and breaking promises. So this is more space for shame. Shame is very, very powerful. Shame is powerful. Fear is powerful. Anger is powerful. I invite you to ask questions. Just give your space and just see. What do you have to lose? Nothing. To ask questions in the most practical sense so you can listen. It's a subtle dialogue. We have a function of the mental processing. Some people will call it ego. And it's usually given a bad rap that is very negative because it can be very out of control. But it is there. Anything that you have, your anger, anything, your body parts, they're there for a reason. They have a function. They have a literal function and a purpose. And that part, as I comprehend, as I understand it, it has a purpose of protection, right? And if you have the job of security and protection for your livelihood out there, that's a serious post. That's a serious responsibility. So it doesn't go off duty. It never goes off duty. Anything that even mildly appears as a threat, it has an immediate response. And it has been trained through being exposed to frightening situations. How much of that are we being exposed through the internet, right? Screaming, crying, like horror movies now is like on a regular basis. Also, listening to neighbors fight, family members argue and fight, parents fight. That is seen as it occurs for many of us as a threat, right? That our well-being is threatened. We're having responses to this stuff. We're having responses. It's occurred to me many of us are going to have to chart our own, I don't know if I want to use the word healing, our own reconstruction. We're going to have to chart our own paths because you're the only one that really has a vested interest. And on social media, there's so much distraction that can take advantage of our anger, our vulnerability, our life crises, our fear, and have us often running a reactionary spending, or we wind up at a club, or we land ourselves, or we allow ourselves to place our reproductive organs, our money, our time, our precious time, which we cannot get back, that commodity, in harm's way as a distraction. So if this is how we're moving about, you can use years off of your life. You can use and lose so much of your life force and your vitality. You turn around, you don't even realize how you became so jaded, or you allowed your body to become so misshapen through mindless behaviors and mindless habits. So something that perhaps can be helpful is quiet. Is to create a craving for quiet. And when we can have an experience that is in total contrast, that is a huge contrast, when you can feel the peace of quiet, the relaxation of quiet. See, these are things that folks can't take away from. Now, you can be triggered. However, you're the one that has to be triggered. This is a big one, triggeration. This is something I'm always, again, fascinated about, is if you catch yourself yelling or angry at other people, how often do we acknowledge that we're choosing these other people that we're angry at? And many of our intimate relationships, we have chosen them, and we're still choosing. So there's something within us, perhaps. Anything that I say that doesn't resonate, please leave it right here. It may not occur to us that we may have feelings of lack, like I can never be with anybody else, or it's too much work or whatever. But somehow automatic pilot, we keep choosing folks that we're complaining about, or to choose to relate to people in the same way. There has to be something powerful enough to stop us in our tracks. There has to be something that can stop you. So was it yesterday? Oh my gosh. I had a toothache. I had a toothache, and I make it a habit to learn from. I make the effort to leverage everything. If I can learn from everything around me, even so-called the bad negative stuff, that's to my benefit. But my sister had said something. I was chewing on these organic blogo, a variety of baby banana that were just dry, just dried bananas. My sister, I'm not messing with those things because, some folks will assume because it's vegan and it's natural that you don't have to pay for the sugar. So my teeth is very sensitive to sugar. And I'm just, it wasn't even the most sweetest banana, but honey, I'm munching on that sucker. And then all of a sudden, it's something that sugar hit a nerve, child. I think the only thing more painful is childbirth. I fell on the floor. I thought I was going to pass out. I thought I was going to pass out from the pain. Oh my gosh. It's like, I don't take medication, but the pain rocked my world. I felt nauseous. I was saying, oh, I'm going to pass out. I started crying, all from this little natural dry banana hitting my tooth. Oh my gosh. I was on the floor, writhing, squirming all over the floor in pain. Oh, I was just crying to my sister. I took some frozen coconut I had put in the freezer, put that on there. I was trying to put ice cubes, took some clove oil, put on some cotton and put over there. Oh my gosh, it's like I was tempted to take that pill. I was tempted to take a painkiller. I wouldn't be wrong if I took the painkiller, but you know, I like preserving my liver. I don't like putting some stuff in my body unless it has to be a real emergency. Oh my gosh, I would almost did. But I felt so nauseous. If I would have took the little pill or something, I probably would have thrown up. And so now in retrospect, it's one of those moments similar to when you're being wheeled into the hospital room or you're about to go under from the anesthesiologist, where you're making all kinds of deals with your maker or your source, your higher power. If I come out of this on the other side, I'm not going to do this. And it's not real. It's not sincere. Come on. I can't tell you what to do in your private moments. It's not sincere. Because as soon as that pain wears off, you'll be right back. You'll be enticed by those nuts. Too much nuts give me a whole bunch of acne, and that was painful. So this is why I'm always fascinated. You know, if we accept responsibility, accepting 110% responsibility for who we've chosen to have children with, who we've chosen in our relationship. We, instead of, in society or popular culture rather, because that's too vague, popular culture and folks that are selling you things will entice you and make you believe smiling packages on smiling faces on the packages, that this is all fun and entertainment, as we're eating ourselves to the point of deformity and eating and using food as a pacifier, as medication, instead of dealing with problems and all the uncomfortable feelings that come up, that this is entertainment and it's fun. This is marketed to us. If only we could unzip the body and see what the organs are going through. Oh my gosh. Like it's abuse. We're stuffing it we're stuffing our kidney, our liver, our spleen with all kind of starch and substances masquerading as food and colorings, and too much cheap salt, way too much salt. And we have the audacity to expect that we should have these well-functioning, smoothly functioning, pain-free body temples. That's not really responsibility. That's not responsible, and I think we grossly underestimate the amount of fun. Everything is fun, and we don't want to pay the tab. We don't want to pay the tab of discomfort. We definitely don't want to pay the tab of withdrawal. But, it's a false expectation. It's quite egotistical to expect you should have supreme health and beauty with no accountability, with no doing the books for taking in more than is needed, and the state of mind that we're in when we're taking in more than is needed. So I dare say we're not really encouraged to be responsible. It's a lot of fork-tongue language going on. The only one that has a vested interest in you being fully accountable is you. And then there's more distraction on the internet than it has men and women fighting each other, the men against the women, especially, in general, and definitely as Afro people. But we're choosing people who we have not vetted. It's so simple. We are even if that's in ignorance, right? Even if that's because we're modeling other people, and many of us are not children anymore. We're choosing these people. We're choosing people. That's coming from us. What is there within us? You keep choosing stuff that's adding extra adipose tissue that will likely end up in visceral fat wrapping around your organs like marbleized meat. Who's doing that to us? We're doing this to ourselves. It's societal. The only one that has a vested interest in corrective action or another course of action or getting to the bottom of why we're doing what we're doing mindlessly is you and I. That's it. Nobody else really cares. That's not profitable, and that takes time. That's uncomfortable. It's a lot, even sometimes as women, we think we're going to fix somebody else. You'll waste a lot of time and years, understanding this human psyche is really a pip. So anyway, in the quiet moments, I encourage you to start a garden, to start planting something, not just for the obvious reasons, not for the obvious reasons, because I guarantee you the amount of relaxation, the therapeutic relaxation, the therapeutic quiet, the light bulbs that will start to click off, the comprehension that will start to activate is beyond words. And it is something to be experienced. You can keep purchasing all these books and you ever wonder why? Like, it's been years of purchasing diet books and exercise equipment. Do you ever ask yourself, what's the blind spot? What's missing? There's something missing. See, I like to ask, I think if perhaps we ask better quality questions, we can perhaps get different types of answers. And the quality answer, I've observed humbly, the quality question will lead to a more quality answer. And here's the distinction. I love distinctions. Distinctions make the difference. Otherwise, we can assume that we're all saying the same thing. We mean the same thing. Context is everything. Context, what's the motive behind who is saying what at any particular time? What's the thinking and reasoning process? See, that you can't always tell by somebody that has gift of gab and nice words. What's their motivation? What's their thought process? What's our context? We're not really encouraged to think critically. We're not encouraged. However, if we ask better quality questions, then likely we'll get answers, right? Answers that have, here's the distinction, actions attached to them. Motivated actions attached to them. Actions that will likely be in alignment with the things that you say that you value. See, that's a big difference, right? When you're drawn to get up and to get into action, right? And really when you're excited to use your spare time to get into action and even to explore things that you say you value. Health for me goes also with play and with fun and the just the humbleness where I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I get to play. My body is pain-free. I get to do new things. It occurs differently when we start to ask different questions that may not be happening if you're continually slapping high five, not bad or wrong, with folks on the same information, the same patterns of conversation. Then likely nothing new is coming in there. How are you going to become aware of your blind spots, of the things that you're not aware of, if you're having the same conversations and communications with the same people? So there's no new feedback, right? We're not encouraged to be more aware. So I call that toothache a spiritual toothache, because if I liken it to other patterns, sometimes it's not until we are knocked flat on our backsides with some really harsh results that could end up in children, loss of finances, 25, 30 years lost, damaging reproductive organs, just psychological, emotional damage, which you may not be able to see. However, today we are able to see it playing itself out more in the train station, on the streets. You know, a lot of folks, so we're walking around with a lot of dis-ease, uneasiness, mental illness. Some of it we don't realize is self-inflicted based on our choices. So we can reverse engineer backwards. So I found a practical way to observe this stuff is quiet. And what are some natural ways? Because the mind is programmed. It's resistant a lot of times to getting quiet. We're encouraged to noise. But the peace that you will experience in the garden, it can have a ricochet spillover effect. The peace that you can experience on quality time with yourself. When you're preparing your food, right? You can create these beautiful, peaceful moments for yourself. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it occurs to us that it's something missing. There's something missing. I invite you to ask yourself, is there something I'm not aware of? My great grandma was more of an herbalist. So was my grandma. So I talk about Grandma Lou all the time, and my godparents all the time. There have been a few folks living in the flesh, and my godparents are still alive today that have have really given me some common sense nuggets. Oh my gosh. They really made a religion and spirituality practical. Right, so let me give you a gem before I jump off of here. Spiritual practices for my godparents. Get a job, sew the holes up in your socks, get out of your mama's house, adopt a ovo or lacto-ovo vegetarian diet, learn how to give yourself an enema, clean your skin up. These were spiritual practices for my godparents. And I honor them so much. Oh my gosh. Through they had us adopt something, if it was a martial art or dance, some form of movement. Oh my gosh, I'm forever, want to pay it forward, because wasn't their legal child, right? But they have children wherever they go. They're just consistent in how they show up on the planet. So you're blessed if you've encountered people that give beyond themselves, and they're just consistent to this day. Also, they fasted, my godparents, every summer. I mean, fit, in shape, dancing, performing. They were older than me. They're still doing it to this day. Consistent. Do you have any of those people? Do you surround yourself with people that are consistent like that? And I actually needed to see an Afro woman walking around living in the flesh. I needed to see someone living her best life that wasn't a victim, that wasn't didn't allow herself to be ruled by a victim mentality, that was in shape, joyous. I needed to see her. So I feel like I attracted her and met her in African dance class, and always educating herself, always doing something, but so much to give. She has really set the bar high, and as well as my godfather, who would tell me he's the most spiritual MF you're ever going to meet. And so he would constantly tell me, stop looking up at the sky. He was like, as if somebody's going to come down and save me. He would give me these assignments and tell me, find the magic, because nobody's coming to save you in that respect. So I'm so grateful for the common sense wisdom that they have given me, had me challenge many things, had me research Christmas and Easter, giving us all of these assignments. And so, oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful to them. And my grandma Lou, who just was like the epitome of grace and common sense. Always had a laugh, never heard her complain, not one time. So I invite us to get quiet and to ask questions, where's your spiritual toothache? Is it something that has knocked you down to the floor and humbled you to get your attention? Is your body temple right now trying to get your attention? Is your skin trying to get your attention? If your eyes are puffy from not too much sleep, what's trying to get your attention? Also on this channel, taking certain things of distraction off of the table, right? Taking my hair off the table. I found it was a huge distraction, and also embracing things that I feel comfortable and attractive in. For me, I've taken a lot off the table to free up my mental bandwidth. If I'm walking around feeling like I have to turn myself inside out for a hairstyle to be attractive to who or what, to really embrace this. There's a lot of our life we're spending in a state of inner turmoil around our physical presentation. That's a lot. There is so much distraction around here on steroids. So in my little corner of the universe, I embrace health as my number one so-called beauty product, right? Because all of us are beautiful when we're healthy. And I really like to feel free in my body temple. I was just thinking, it's occurred to me the other day. I remember when I said get, a little acne on my back, and my face was toe up from the flow up with all kinds of acne, cystic acne, and scars. And so yesterday I played around with some mascara. I haven't put on lip gloss in a long time, so I played with it. But for the most part, I really like my skin. I like my eyebrows. I'm very intentional around celebrating and appreciating what I have in all of its different phases of life, because it's going to change. So I'm not interested in somebody looking to sell me a false narrative in the form of a product that they want to get me on a whole stroll and get me addicted to. So again, on this channel, I share encouragement to consume what I call peaceful consumption, right? peaceful first to your own brain, to your arteries, to your skin, to your colon, to your liver. Peaceful, respectful consumption, right? As a state of mind, if that is your state of being, it's easier. So much more gets lined up and falls in place based on your state of being. That is different than trying and struggling to diet or to do something. Then light bulbs. I've experienced it and I've noticed it in clients. Light bulbs just start going off. It's much more efficient and it feels a lot better. Peaceful consumption for your brain, your arteries, your body temple, eating for longevity. Right? Starting a garden, starting a vigorous, joyous movement practice. Do you move vigorously and joyously on a regular basis? If not, why? And I invite you to listen to and perhaps even write down your excuses are valid. The very valid excuses for not moving vigorously and joyously on a regular basis. I invite you to put it down. Maybe perhaps if you can see it objectively in black and white so that you can challenge it. So I invite you to ask better questions of yourself. Because even with this hair, it's a state of mind, radical self-acceptance. This is what I have. Not only have I accepted it, I embrace it and I embellish it and I celebrate it. I'm celebrating what I was born with. So then these are ways that you can flip script and flip how you're experiencing life out here, right? You can start to notice how you're experiencing life. When you pass by the mirror, you look in the mirror, do you have an automatic smile, a spontaneous smile that comes up on your face, right? Or you're aware of the dialogue that comes up in your head? Are you shaming yourself? Are you not feeling good because you're not taking responsibility? Things you're not addressing, they're right there packed down into your subconscious. So I invite you to, you're welcome to avail yourself of the relaxation videos on this channel. A good way perhaps also to use this channel is while you're on your stretch mat, stretching, or chopping vegetables, or decluttering is a great use of the content on this channel. And some of this content will be moved over to the Patreon page. On Patreon, we're having a food preparation party once a month. So for those folks that are patrons of the channel, do feel free if you like to support the channel. So all that information is there on the screen. The Cocoon for folks that would like to really take time to go in for a period of time for anywhere from a week to 30 days. That's for folks that are really about that business, about that life. That's for very early risers. That is usually at 4 o'clock in the morning from 4 to 6. At 6:15, we have Hit It and Quit It, right? Monday through Thursday workouts. That's like a base of what you need to get. You'd be amazed at what you can do in terms of strength, cardio, and flexibility right from your little house. And then also there are food preparation classes. If you would like insight, sometimes when people ask me about skincare, and at some point I have content, but it's just the time that it takes to put the content together around what I'm doing for my skin. I don't put any products at all. I threw away my shower caddy many years ago. I did find a delicate shampoo, but even then, see, I don't like to get addicted to anything, because as soon as you get addicted in the part of the world where I am, it disappears. So I don't see it anymore. So I'd rather be dependent on the nopales and the okra that are out in my garden and the different herbs and herbal teas, for my hair. And quite often I water rinse. I don't have not one lick of dandruff in my scalp. So that's the whole Afro flowers. My whole angle on Afro flowers is the things that we need to nourish and beautify ourselves. Growing right in our own yard. And I'm really here to reactivate the ways of the grandmothers. One of my greatest inspirations is my grandma Lou, right? This is a state of being. This is a state of being. Spending time with her in her kitchen is how I learned so much. Just pulling up to the plastic lunch tray to grate coconut and such. So Hit It and Quit It workout is at 6:15. That's 40 minutes. And lunchtime class is common sense nutrition and efficient fitness, cutting all the guesswork out of your movement practice and why perhaps you don't have the results that you'd like, right? If you're applying a lot of effort and a lot of time, but you're not seeing any changes, there is a reason why. right? So some basic comprehensive education cuts out all the guesswork. So those lunchtime classes are Monday through Thursday. Natural beauty, no products, right? All the food that I'm using on my hair and skin, because yes, I put food on my hair and skin. I don't care if folks laugh. It's work for me more than any products. That is on bodyculinary.com, that guide. And Whole Living Foods in the Hood with menus to fit your budget, with pictures of what I've been packing and eating for years, all the tips for whether you're single or you're a mom with a family or you're on your spending plan. There are different shops with lists of whole, fresh, living foods with their living water intact. That's a whole food, not powders, not pills, and ideas of sample menus. So that guide is also available for body-culinary.com. So if you're not able to meet with me, that would be a great resource. The reason I put that together is for folks that have so many questions. So it's right there with the visuals. Will answer a lot of questions and also laser into the mindset. I was a junk food junkie and my face was looking like the sidewalk. And while I may not have been obese 300 pounds, you can be mentally and emotionally obese and it'll be waiting for me, especially with the way that I like to eat. So that guide is also available. There's also a workshop, Healthy Eating for Men. That webinar is available on the site. And emergency food preparation and preparedness, right? So it's a way I have of storing and keeping food that's fresh, so nothing out of the can all year round and in an emergency, right? Which is also useful in really managing your spending plan. So all of those resources are available on body-culinary.com. So subscribe to the channel if you find some value here. You're welcome to share with someone that may perhaps has this really fine hair. You might be concerned about, trying to ward off some alopecia by just stopping just all of the things that we're trying to force the hair to do. Not very thick, very fine. Everything is coming in flat and I am embracing it, right? So I've taken that off the table so I can go get to other stuff. So enjoy the content. Check out Kwasa Peaceful Eating with a K on TikTok. Check out Body Culinary on Patreon. Support the channel. And I invite you to create a great day on purpose, whatever the heck is going on. Why not just be intentional? Create a great day on purpose just because you said so. And I will see you soon.